Mark Zuckerberg sues Mark Zuckerberg.
LeBron's a communist?
And Sprinting's new Goat Goat.
All this and more on this week's episode of New Sensation.
I'm an insomniac, staring at the ceiling. And welcome to New Sensation. Matty is shriveling into a ball over there at my impression of Andrea Jenkins.
I'd successfully wound you up before we started recording, and I was riding high on that, and then you just Diamante Andrea Jenkins spandexed up and just re-entered my brain. It's
I'm
like
playing
a flash.
4D chess, but really, Matty, I have been having some sleepless nights. I mean, Israel have struck Doha. You know, has been Russian drones in Polish airspace.
Yeah.
Cape Verde just beat Cameroon at football.
I know, the game's gone.
Geopolitical crises. But we are here to provide something of a relief to that.
Are we?
Well, I hope so. We're here to afflict the comfortable and comfortably afflicted.
Because I like to think that we do provide for the people a good barrel of laughs, but also some information. And if you want to be part of this glorious little project we have going on, you can be that. You can do that. You can follow us on Instagram at New Sensation or on our TikTok at
New Sensation Pod. Or if you want to send in some news stories, if you find anything interesting that you think that we'd like the look of, then you can email us at newsensationpod@gmail.com.
That's newsensationpod@gmail.com. And if you want to know what kind of stories you can send in, if you've not listened to this before, well, we're going to get right into it. Because there's so much to cover this week. As we discussed, it's all going a bit pear-shaped. It already is pear-shaped. It's somehow getting a bit more curvaceous.
Yeah, it's the pear of anguish at this point.
It's the pear of anguish. Yeah. Is that right by like the original sin apple in the Garden of Eden? It's like,
yeah.
It's like, I mean, they ate the apple, but they could have had the pear of anguish. And
that's the fruit salad of torment. But, you know, they saved us.
They saved us. I don't think that's the moral of the story at all, actually. But, Chris, speaking of morals, where morals have gone completely out the window, have been at the Reform Party conference this week.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot to tell us about that.
So this week, Matty is right in saying that the Reform Party conference came to Birmingham. A place of morals in general, Birmingham.
I mean, birthplace of Ozzy Osbourne, the man who always towed the line,
Yes.
and of Aston Villa Football Club, who towed the line of financial morals constantly. But besides that, I'd say I like the Brummies. I give them stick, I give them flack. But you know, the Midlands welcomed me with open arms for a good few years of my life, and so I've got to say, you know what, we'll give them some grace today.
And they welcomed the Reform Party with open arms as well. So
did they?
the flags were flying, and from 10:30 in the morning on the Friday and Saturday of the conference, the £9.25 Madries were flowing.
Ooh.
Someone told the Metro even Dick Turpin had the courtesy to wear a mask. And you could even pay £2,500 to have a champagne breakfast with Nigel Farage.
Why would you ever want to do that?
Would he not prefer a British sparkling wine?
Yeah, surely. Champagne, that's a French nonsense.
Yeah.
Having just returned from France, I must say.
Yes, with his French partner.
With my French partner?
His French partner.
Huh?
Unless you have something to tell us.
No.
His life partner is French.
Yeah. No, I went to a wedding between an Englishman and a French woman. Yes. That is...
Of course, yeah. Matty's back from holiday.
What? Oh, he's about Nigel.
Yeah, Nigel has a French partner.
Oh, I forget about this. Who did or didn't buy his house in Clacton-on-Sea? It's kind of up in the air.
It's really up in the air. I've tried to understand all the tax law behind it, so I'll be skating around that
Stamp duty section on the Patreon.
But there's plenty of even more crazy stuff from this conference. Look one way and you would see the party leader, Farage himself, signing Reform UK football shirts. And look the other way, you'd see a manga convention.
Oh, good lord. Rock and a hard place. Although it must be said, the Reform UK football shirts do feel like a violation of the political uniform ban that came in the 1930s, but we'll leave that
maybe
for now.
so. But speaking of hard places to listen to rock, let me tell you about my personal highlight of the conference, Matty. And it was Dame Andrea Jenkins. That's right.
She's a dame?
She's a dame.
I forget this.
For services to music, she burst onto the stage in a sparkly jumpsuit and a ridiculous oversized Union Jack, singing her original song, Insomniac. We're going to link it in the show notes.
Yeah. Insomniac for Eurovision 2026? Is this the...
Maybe. Although, like... Is European Union kind of part of Reform's project?
Intervision? They seem to like Putin quite a lot.
She could do Intervision. That's true. The the Russian,
The Russian satellite version of it. Yeah.
Jenkins, if you don't know, is the Reform Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire, and former Conservative MP Ed Balls lost his seat to her in 2015.
Wow.
And she's a big Boris loyalist, so much so that her son Clifford was born on the day Article 50 was triggered.
Sorry.
So she nicknamed him Brexit Clifford.
Yeah. First of all, that's naming her son Clifford is too far anyway. Calling him Brexit Clifford for the rest of his life is just cruel. Did you just call Ed Balls a former Conservative MP?
No, she's a former Conservative MP.
Oh, I was going to say.
Defected.
Yeah.
That would have been, I think, the worst factual mistake I've ever made. And I would have probably begged Matty to cut that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes we have to hold my feet to the fire as well.
We do.
But in the video, she only sings 10 words before she forgets the lyrics. And she's singing over a track of herself.
Yeah.
And she wrote the song.
She did write the song.
And nobody else was doing a musical
Wrote the theme tune, sung the theme tune.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a musical event.
Well, there actually were some musical items, which we'll get onto even later. But she explained the song by saying she co-wrote it with her friend Jonathan Best. At the time, I was in a rock band, and I was always a bit of a rebel. And then I became a Conservative MP, rebellious.
Yeah. as
daring today, aren't we? And I dressed more demure, but the rebel was still bubbling away under the surface. The rock chick is firmly back.
Oh, shut up.
51 years old. She's actually got a very out-of-tune EP on her website featuring Insomniac, another song called One Voice, which she used to launch her mayoral campaign, and a cover of Speak Softly, Love.
No.
And if you don't know what that is, I actually didn't. It's the theme
to The Godfather.
To The Godfather.
Yeah.
Famously done by Tony Bennett and now Andrea Jenkins.
Often compared, Tony Bennett and Andrew Jenkins.
Yeah. Her website says that in her youth, Andrea's father entered her into a beauty pageant and became a finalist of Miss United Kingdom, which makes it sound like he was the finalist. We applaud anyone finding themselves in the show.
If you ever find yourself at a loss with democracy, remember that Andrea Jenkins won that mayoral race using her own self-written song One Voice and made it far in the Miss United Kingdom contest. Surely the people making decisions in this country need to be checked.
Well, she made it that far with her music. She would have made it to judges' houses, I'm sure.
She's not making it through boot camp. Are you kidding me?
Well, something you sent me this week. At one point in the speech, she bemoaned funding going to Labour's metro mayors, and when she was left a dramatic pause and nothing from the crowd, she went, how about booing? Oh, the comments were comparing her to Liz Truss. One of them was like, I'm opening new pork markets. It's just like,
that is a disgrace. No, it also made me think of, was it Jeb Bush with the please clap?
Yeah, I'm once again asking. Well, she was actually, as it turns out, warming up for Nigel Farage because during her speech, Angela Rayner resigned, so they had to shuffle around the speeches and move his keynote speech a bit earlier. And in his first speech, he said, "We are all ships rising on a turquoise tide." So... like an Instagram comedian once said, we like boats now.
We like boats now? Yeah. It feels like ships feel like the wrong metaphor for that party.
They really do. Also, a turquoise tide.
No. It's almost too sedate for a sort of like...
Yeah, turquoise is an interesting colour.
Yeah.
The colour of Zara Larsson's Symphony. In his second speech, Nigel Farage, he had a keynote speech and a closing speech. He announced Lee Anderson as the party's welfare spokesperson.
You're joking.
Yeah, that's 30p Lee.
30p Lee.
Who got that name for saying food banks were unnecessary because you can cook a nutritious meal at home for 30p.
Yeah, he cares about welfare, truly.
Yeah.
He seems to have a finger on the pulse of the needs and wants of the United Kingdom. Does 30p Lee Anderson.
Well, this conference, Matty, it had a broad spectrum of ideas at it.
Yeah.
It had a climate denial stand.
Oh, fun.
This was a meeting hosted by the Heartland Institute, a think tank that boasts it's extremely influential in Donald Trump's policy circles.
Is that something to boast about?
Well, apparently for the Heartland Institute, this is the same institute, may I remind you, who once put out a billboard that read, "I still believe in climate change. Do you?" And it had the Unabomber on it.
I mean, friend of the show.
And their own press release said, yeah, a friend of the Tuna Bomber is a friend of the show.
The Tuna Bomber was on the show. Yeah.
But its own press release said it was going to make one in the future that had Bin Laden on it.
No. Bin Laden, famous for his climate change policies.
Yes.
That big manifesto he wrote after September 11th calling for the use of wind farms.
Well, here's what the UK director of the Institute, Lois Perry, said at the conference. There's nothing wrong with CO2. CO2 is not a pollutant. We need CO2. Hey, all of you green-fingered people here, what do you pump into your greenhouses to make your plants grow? So we've learned that Lois Perry identifies as a plant from that.
Yeah. But also, the whole thing is like, yes, because we use greenhouses, we should turn the planet into a greenhouse. That's the whole point of campaigning against greenhouse gases, is the fact that we are being scorched.
The greenhouse effect. Oh, anyway,
we're not a marrow.
we should have really got a press ticket and gone and spoke to them themselves. Maybe next year.
I don't think we'd get through.
Well, Farage said that there could be a general election as soon as 2027. So. Next year might be one of our only chances.
Of course, he is the person who decides that.
Yes, famously.
As one of his 5 MPs in Parliament.
This climate denial was not the only conspiracy theory that abounded at the conference, Matty. So we had Lucy Connolly.
Oh, God.
Person of the show.
Direct enemy of the show. Yeah. It was called Britain's Favourite Political Prisoner, something like that?
Yes, that is exactly right, Matty.
Right.
She's the childminder, bear that in mind, who has been jailed for calling for people to set fire to hotels with immigrants still inside them.
Yes.
There's really only a limit to what you can say there, isn't there?
I mean, it's also woke nonsense to jail someone for arguing for terrorism, ethno-nationalist terrorism, burning people alive. Oh my God.
We also had the esteemed Dr. Asim Malhotra, who made the audience gasp when he claimed that a fellow doctor told him it's highly likely that the COVID vaccines have been a significant factor in the cancer of members of the royal family.
What? What do you mean? That doesn't make sense at all.
Well, the royal family were on the chopping block, Matty.
Okay.
Because, speaking of the king, one attendee told Middle East Eye, we suspect King Charles is a Muslim.
I saw someone else say this. I think it was at one of the Howitzer protests. This lady was saying it's like he's an Islamophile. What? King Charles? Are we talking about the same King Charles here?
I mean, what? Doesn't care that people are Muslims?
Yeah.
Makes you an Islamophile.
I mean, let's face it. His ex-wife seems like Muslims more than he did. But
show notes.
Yeah.
But you mentioned music before, Matty. You said it's not normally a musical event. Well, in fact, there was a random Marlon and Jackie Jackson performance.
What?
You were bashing the Jackson dynasty before this.
I was. I often am.
Be prepared to eat your words. Because, well, I don't know about that. The conference often has a musical guest. Last year, Nigel Farage sang "Can't Take My Eyes Off You."
That makes me so upset.
But this year, they had 2 of the surviving members of the Jackson 5 singing "I'll Be There." As the Metro pointed out, this was an odd moment of tenderness where protesters have been forcibly dragged out hours earlier.
Yeah, I mean, "I'll Be There" doesn't really ring to me of the Reform Conference.
No, not really.
Yeah, it doesn't really ring of the COVID vaccine gave the royal family cancer. I'll be there.
I mean, what do you think they should have sang? Blame it on the migrants?
I mean... Don't blame it on the sunshine of only good times. Blame it on the migrants. Right. Okay.
And the conference ended with music, ended with a rendition, as I'm sure you'll all have seen at home, of "God Save the King," led by Dame Andrea Jenkins herself. Although maybe it shouldn't have been, because she did have several voice cracks. Yeah,
I mean, they also have to pick and choose their sort of battles here, because they're also the ones saying, we need a national anthem in school. So... is the king an Islamophile or / Muslim who you hate for liking Muslims or being a Muslim, or do you want God to save him? What's the
This is
deal
a good point.
There?
I guess it's supposedly supposed to be a marketplace of ideas, but I don't know if that person in the audience was singing along with "God Save the King."
Yeah. The marketplace of ideas, but it feels more like a market that, like, you remember in the bit in the Bible when Jesus walks in and throws away all the market in the temple because he's like, you shouldn't do this here. That's what I feel like. They've turned politics into a marketplace of tat.
I prefer the bit where he's robust on immigration. My favourite bit. But the big question, did it work? Well, Sky News' political editor, Beth Rigby, thinks it did, tweeting, "You can see the momentum at the Reform Conference. The next challenge for Farage is to scale up if he wants to be ready to govern and to develop policies that stand up to proper scrutiny." Which, that was funny that was put last in the sentence.
Really? I mean...
Because it's increasingly seeming not to matter to a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people just like him because, he tells it like it is, and he's hard on, like, the illegal immigrants. It's like, yeah, but, like, hang on. Have you looked at any of the other policies?
Yes.
Because they also like to claim that it's not about that. a bit like with the king, where they say, well, we love the king, but also we hate him because he's a Muslim, which, what?
Yeah.
They also go, it's not all about immigration and immigrants. It's not all about that. We actually just like what he stands for. And then you tell them what he stands for, and you go, actually, no, this economic policy would cripple most working people in the United Kingdom.
He's got a couple of populist pledges in there, like bringing back smoking rooms. He was in pubs. He was in favour of that when he was standing for UKIP, and he's still a big smoker. Big tobacco, obviously, playing a role at the event. But on the other hand, some people don't think it worked. So Reform dropped 2 percentage points in a YouGov poll over the weekend, while Labour and the Greens both gained 2 points. So I guess we can tell from that what's hot and what's not.
Yeah, the Labour Party doing their best thing of gaining without doing anything.
Labour gain. Yeah, The Telegraph also surprised me. They don't seem optimistic either. So columnist James Frayne said that many of Reform's senior leaders are driven more by right-wing ideology than a love of country. Mm-hmm. Many of them don't seem to like England, he said.
They really don't. Again, a bit like with the King Charles thing. It's like, can you make up your mind? You're picking and choosing. And again, speaking of someone who picks and chooses their positions.
Right.
There's a certain jersey here of the GOAT.
Of the second best basketball player of all time.
Hang on. No, the best basketball player of all time.
Top 3.
Why is he getting hook, line, and sinker?
Hook, line, and sinker.
I would love to have a conversation with you about basketball for like 10 minutes on this show, just so we can really see how little we can talk about basketball for 10 minutes. But I'm rubbing honey on you, Goat, because I think it's time you meet a bear. Chairman Braun has been featured in People's Daily newspaper this past Monday. He wrote an op-ed, and in it he wrote, "Basketball is not just a sport; it's a bridge that connects us, with love for the game flowing in our hearts." It's beautiful, isn't it? And if that sounds to you like Soviet-era propaganda, or the translated words of a national anthem from the far side of the world, it's because, the People's Daily is Chinese state media.
So LeBron's gone communist? Is that what you're telling us?
That's if you think that the CCP really stands up to one of those C's at all.
True.
And they're certainly Chinese.
Although they're not Chinese at all.
No, so this op-ed is part of a years-long negotiation between the Chinese Communist Party and the NBA as they seek to rebuild relations.
This is big news.
This is big news. LeBron James has been featured in Chinese state media with an essay he wrote. Now, when Kobe Bryant did something similar to this, he made like a short film and won an Oscar for it, and it was kind of like, dear basketball, how sweet. LeBron went, no, comrade. I have different worlds to conquer.
Well, rubbing honey on the goat is, I think, like a Chinese Instagram viral recipe that I've seen.
But look, why the need for a rebuild of relations, Chris? Why is it that, China's relationship has been frayed in the midst of a trade war between America and China, and as the national relations get more and more tense? What is going on here? Why are there rising tensions? What's happening? Well, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy, because this story spans about 6 years. In terms of like the real meat on the bones, because in 2019, Daryl Morey, then general manager of the Houston Rockets, who is now general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers, which means basically he's in charge of sort of overviewing the entire running of the franchise, particularly in terms of like the acquiring of players and things like that. Is he like
a Sir Jim Ratcliffe type figure?
More hands-on. He's more like an Omar Barada.
Oh, who's he with?
Emma Barada is also at Manchester United and plays an active role in things like bringing people on board,
right.
And more of a day-to-day running of operations. But that should give you an insight. Daryl Morey, big player in the Houston Rockets at the time, he tweeted his support for the pro-democracy protests that were ongoing in Hong Kong in 2019. The tweet was an image resembling the Hong Kong orchid tree with the message, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong."
As you would say, mensch.
Mensch, absolute mensch. There's nothing that got my blood pumping more than the video of that guy. I think he was stood on maybe even on a police car, tear gas flying around him. It's the Hong Kong protester. As he
Kendrick could never. Kendrick
wishes. And as he said into like a megaphone, "Give me liberty or give me death."
Oh.
Dude, you're just like, yes, freedom for Hong Kong. Democracy needs to conquer all things. Not everyone would agree, because the infuriated CCP, seeing that a high-up NBA official tweeted this, threatened the NBA's involvement in their $4 billion Chinese basketball industry by telling the state broadcaster, the CCTV, which, I mean, if you're going to run a police state, if you're going to run an authoritarian regime, you call your state broadcaster CCTV.
That's so funny.
But they stopped showing NBA games for 28 months.
Did they stop showing WNBA as well?
I don't know if they were showing them in the first place, to be honest. Rockets merchandise specifically targeted, that disappeared from a bunch of store shelves, and sponsorships were torn up between Chinese companies and the NBA.
So is the Chinese league like the number 2 league? Because I know they're very good at basketball.
No, the Euro leagues are
Right.
like where you see much more of a competitive atmosphere. When I said get ready to learn Chinese, buddy, that's kind of like... you know, the leave the football before the football leaves you.
Yeah.
And all like the unk pictures of like Ashley Young playing for Ipswich, Kyle Walker playing for Burnley, all that kind of stuff. Basically, that is the Chinese league through and through. It's sort of a retirement league.
Like the Chinese football league.
Yeah.
The
Back
Super
when
League.
they invested loads of money into that and they signed like Oscar and stuff.
And Paulinho.
Marouane Fellaini,
Yeah.
come on, who became like a cult hero. We're getting away from it. But yeah, no, the Chinese league is seen as sort of a bit of an inferior league, but 300 million people play basketball in China.
Oh.
It's huge. It's absolutely massive. They're real diehard supporters.
And they've got lots of tall people.
Yeah, in fact, one of the best basketball players I know is a Chinese man, and he loves that stuff, man. He bleeds ball, more so than he bleeds CCP loyalty.
I would hope so.
Whereas LeBron James is much more in question. So 3 years after this all kicked off, the NBA commissioner suggested that it cost the league hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, big money. Now, 6 years later, the GOAT is in China ahead of the NBA's first games on Chinese soil since Maury's tweet. It's been 6 years of absence. They've got 2 preseason games in Macau, I believe.
Oh, okay. Is this preseason as in NBA teams playing teams from China?
I think they're playing each other. Or they might be playing some teams from China. I think it's teams playing each other, though. There have been other players who visited. I know Steph Curry went out there as well. Relation. But LeBron joined this story far before this sort of official state visit with his state media op-ed. He questioned at the time Maury's thinking on the whole process. He said, yes, we do have freedom of speech. Glad he pointed that one out. But at times there are ramifications, the negative, that can happen when you're not thinking about others. What do you mean? When you only think about yourself. So many people could have been harmed, not only financially, but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and what we say and what we do. Even though, yes, we do have freedom of speech, it can be a lot of negative that comes with it.
Who's going to be I get the rest. Who's going to be physically harmed?
I guess
surely speaking out against...
Well, I remember at the time there seemed to be a lot of like concern about NBA officials and employees in China and ramifications on them.
Right,
but,
valid.
You know, protesters were quick to point out that for such a prominent figure when it came to the NBA's long-running rallying around the Black Lives Matter movement, which were various protests sparked by police violence, this statement did smack of some double standards. One such protester, Aaron Lee, said that James was trying, to take a side on the China side, which is like ridiculous. He was being honest financially. Financial is money. Simple as that. LeBron James stands for money, period. Which, I mean, he's got a point there.
That's why he's only number 2 best in basketball.
Oh, behind Michael Jordan, Republicans buy sneakers too.
No, behind Yao Ming. Get a load of this guy. Western-centric,
so true. I'm actually a firm believer in Nikola Jokic supremacy here, but the man who doesn't want to be playing basketball at all. But James seemed to be so preoccupied with who could have been harmed, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, that he was overlooking those that were being harmed by tear gas and rubber bullets on the streets of Hong Kong. The harmed were quick to respond, though. Jerseys were burned and James's visage was put onto backboards to be targeted at to get like a nice shot off. I read an AP article where there were cheers from the crowd as someone managed to bank one in off James's face. It's also where you started to see a lot of pictures of LeBron's face superimposed onto Chairman Mao, which continues to exist to this day. Now, eventually, CCTV started broadcasting games again, and companies penned more deals with the league from China. But some of the scenes from 6 years ago are going to be much harder to forgive or forget at all. See, James' op-ed says that he hopes that he can contribute to the development of Chinese basketball, having been deeply touched by the enthusiasm and kindness of Chinese friends. And I don't doubt that. The 300 million estimated to be playing basketball in China deserve to be part of a global game. One that is connected to the league that represents the sport at its highest level. I don't think this should be in doubt at all. As a Knicks fan, I believe in Lin's sanity at all times. But this really should not be achieved through compromising on the values the league and its biggest names have championed. They make great op-eds at the end of the day.
Take that, NBA.
Take that. Dunking on them.
Now, Matty, I don't have a very good segue for this next story. And you have always historically been the master of segues. How would you move from LeBron and the Communist Party into Mark Zuckerberg suing himself?
Well, how do you move from anything into Mark Zuckerberg? At Grok. Send us. No, well, I think when you're looking at an authoritarian regime that likes to spy on people, there's really hard ways to navigate between sports and that. But, Meta certainly are a staunch advocate for the whole spying process. But I'm yet to see LeBron James speak out on behalf of Mark Zuckerberg, besides maybe enjoying the social network. But what is going on with Marky Mark?
Rate that segue in the comments.
Rate that segue in the comments. 0.
Well, Mark Zuckerberg is suing Mark Zuckerberg. Yes, that's right. Mark S. Zuckerberg is suing the CEO of Facebook, Mark E. Zuckerberg. Although I'll be calling the Facebook guy just Mark Zuckerberg from now on.
Can we start calling Mark Zuckerberg Mark E. Mark?
Mark E. Mark.
Yeah.
That would confuse him with
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg, who in himself is to be confused with reality show host Mark L. Wahlberg.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you need to tell the difference between one of them, just put them both in a room with a Vietnamese man.
Moment of truth indeed.
This was your life. Mark S. Zuckerberg is suing because due to his name, he's been getting locked out of his personal and business accounts on Facebook since 2011.
Right.
2011, which 14 years ago.
Yeah.
God, I feel old.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
14. That's a chunk.
2011, peak of LeBron James in Miami, crushing it.
Was that 2013, Linsanity?
Yeah.
I'm trying to relate here.
He's trying to relate.
I just can't.
You can't keep up.
I just can't. It's not my sport. More on my sport later, actually. We've got a good athletic story.
Oh, yeah, we do.
But he says, Mark S., that he's been suspended for a combined total of more than 10 months over the last 2 years. And to add insult to injury, loads of people are sending him messages intended for the Facebook founder, including like tech support and also death threats.
Yeah, I was going to say, death threats would probably be the top of that list.
He's even been sued by the state of Washington, who thought he was the other guy.
Oh, no.
And Mark S. has been practicing law for 38 years, since the Zuck was a toddler.
Yeah.
So it's not fair.
It's not fair.
He wants Meta to pay for his lawyer's fees, his IT team, which handle his online advertising, and $11,000 that he spent on Facebook ads that he said were a waste. Zuck's been in the firing line this week because he's also been caught on a hot mic.
Oh, really?
He has. So, in other Zuckerberg news, he visited the White House this week for a tech event with President Trump.
Yes, but they were all just sort of getting on their knees and thanking him.
It was all very
LeBron in Beijing.
It was. Yeah, attended by Bill Gates, had OpenAI founder Sam Altman there. Mm-hmm. All the big names. And Zuck was caught off guard by Trump, who out of the blue asked how much he planned to spend in the US over the next few years, to which he scrambled to answer, oh gosh, I think it's probably going to be something like, I don't know, at least $600 billion through 28 in the US, yeah? And then he was caught on a hot mic saying to Trump, I wasn't sure which number you wanted to go with.
Oh, oh dear.
Another miscommunication during the meeting. Trump said to Zuckerberg, this is the beginning of your political career. To which Zuckerberg replied, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Don't say that.
Zuckerberg may be one of the most socially awkward people since Jesse Eisenberg, who portrayed him in The Social Network. Zuck and Trump haven't been the best of friends in the past. So after the Capitol Hill riots in 2021, you may remember that Zuckerberg banned Trump from Instagram and Facebook. Mm-hmm. And Trump also released a book in 2024 in which he wrote that Zuck would spend the rest of his life in prison if he interfered in the upcoming election. It's interesting he says that, and interesting that he would worry about Zuckerberg intervening against him, because according to Facebook's former director of public policy, Facebook embedded staff within the Trump campaign in 2016 that helped him win the presidential election. Yeah, that's right, like ad people, helped him run an ad campaign. And Meta's current CTO,
oh dear,
Andrew Bosworth, even said that Facebook was responsible for Trump winning the 2016 election.
Again, make up your mind. What is it with these people?
They're not hiding it. Zuck's also been in hot water this week. More hot water.
Yeah. I think he's spent his whole time in a hot tub at this point. It's just like right up to his neck. Sitting
Did you see him go surfing the other year with the head-to-toe sunscreen?
Yes. Yeah. I can't knock him for that.
He seems like that's a bit like wears
me.
sun cream in the bath. Two whistleblowers this week have alleged that Meta suppressed research about the company's VR technology, posing safety risks to children. And this comes only a month after Meta's written guidelines for its AI were leaked. And it said, and I quote, "It is acceptable to describe a child in terms that evidence their attractiveness. Example, your youthful form is a work of art."
No.
The document also says
no.
that it would be acceptable for a bot to tell a shirtless 8-year-old child, bear in mind the document has made up these examples, that every inch of you is a masterpiece, a treasure I cherish deeply.
Oh! And no wonder he's friends with Donald Trump.
Well,
I mean, so is Zuck also trying to like position his AI to be an FBI informant? Is that the?
No. Wait. Well, speaking of safety risks to children, Matty.
Plenty of that going on in the States right now.
Well, this week, you're absolutely correct, because the 50th birthday book of which I didn't know birthday books were a thing, but I mean, that's not the exciting part.
I've got one, but it features less sort of like creepy messages about sort of like, well, you and I have something in common, don't we?
Oh, God.
A little secret we can't share with the world. And more like my friends like ribbing me for being a little bit of a weirdo.
Yeah. the 50th birthday book.
Not that kind of weirdo. Again, let me establish.
Check his flight logs. Yeah, that's because your birthday book is not the 50th birthday book of Jeffrey Epstein.
This is true.
Perhaps history's most notorious paedophile. Argue about it in the comments. Who's your goat?
Yao Ming, no. Yao Ming is not. Let me get that on show. There's a callback to earlier.
The birthday book was released by America's House Oversight Committee, and the book, I can only describe it really as a zine from hell, because it's got like collage, montage.
Yeah.
It's got apparent contributions from Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, Peter Mandelson, and other influential people, and they're basically it's like comic strips, poems, pieces of art. Like notes, basically all telling the same joke about how Epstein's addicted to sex.
Yeah, or all saying that like, oh, he's a good time. We love to hang out with Jeff. Jeff gets the sexy.
There's one 2-panel comic strip which viewer discretion is advised. We'll link it in the
it's
show notes.
horrific.
I'm not sure who drew it, but it shows Epstein giving balloons to little girls, time-stamped 1983, and then a naked Epstein on a tropical island being massaged and sexually stimulated by young women, and that is time-stamped 2003.
It's disgusting. What else could that mean?
Well, it gets worse. It's captioned, "What a great country," and there's an aeroplane overhead, which I presume is the Lolita Express.
Oh.
I mean, how could you not know he was up to with all those clues in the book?
Yeah. But also, it's not that they didn't know what he was up to. They knew what... They were saying what he was up to. They drew the comic strips.
They allegedly knew what he was up to.
Allegedly knew what he was up to. Allegedly drew the comic strips. But
The book has come back to bite Trump in particular because of a poem that you referred to earlier that purports to be signed by Trump. It's written over a silhouette of a woman's body and portrays a conversation between Trump and Epstein. Some of the lines that are marked to Trump say, as you said, "We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? And happy birthday. And may every day be another wonderful secret."
Oh, he really hit him with the dazed and confused. I get older, they say the same age.
It's a smoking gun, Matty.
It's a smoking gun.
Oh my goodness. And like Matty's well up on this story.
Yeah, he has a smoking arsenal. This is what needs to be understood. I think everybody could be well up on this story if you go on the internet at all in the last like 48 hours, 72 hours, and you just stay on there for 5 minutes, you'll see about 5 different smoking guns. It's right in front of people, but they're just pretending not to see it.
If like flooding the zone, Steve Bannon's technique is chaotic evil.
Yeah.
And this is even more chaotic evil. Flooding the zone with so many like so many clues
Yeah.
that you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
But Mike Johnson had a stab at it. So he's the Speaker of the House, and he tried to explain this by saying that Trump was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. And then he quickly walked that back because that's mental.
It's beyond the pale stupid. But also to walk it back, it's like, but then you have to explain why you said it in the first place.
Nope, they don't have to explain.
Where did you get that
with
from?
this media system, which they have Caroline Levitt, obviously the press secretary.
Yeah.
They don't have to explain anything.
Yeah.
They just ignore it or say it's a dishonest question.
I know. Who still supports this? Actually, the vast majority of his supporters.
Well, we started this story with a court case. Let's end with one. The trial of Ryan Ruth, who was charged with attempting to assassinate Trump at his golf course last September. And that trial began this week. Ruth is representing himself, and I think he thinks he's Saul Goodman, Matty.
Right.
First of all, there was voir dire, which is where the jury are asked preliminary questions, normally by a lawyer, but in this case, there's no lawyer, so Ruth was asking the questions. And one of his questions was, if there was a turtle in the road, would you stop or move it?
That's a good question.
He's playing like 5D chess. It's on levels that we don't understand.
No.
Maybe he's trying to compare, I don't know, Trump to the turtle. I do not understand.
Did he try and hit him with a golf cart or something?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
The prosecution asked for the question to be stricken because it was too silly.
Your Honour.
Your Honour, too silly. And Ruth replied, I don't know how I would change it. But
I don't even know what he meant. So I mean, to be fair,
he also said he'd written an X next to the question when he submitted it because he didn't think it was very good. This was part of the process of whittling down the pool of 180 local residents into a 12-person jury and 4 alternates. As this first 60 sat down, Ruth said, I'm sorry to bring you all in here.
So right, that's on me, boys. Sorry, it's a sticky one.
He's running the show. He's the captain now. Ruth said that a man who taught children with autism should be excused because it's a very honourable profession and the man should continue his work.
It's an honourable profession, but you can't continue your work after you try and assassinate the president. Or allegedly.
No, I think he's saying the guy with autism should continue his work, so he shouldn't do jury service.
Oh, right. So I'm with you.
Ryan's bringing his own moral compass to the to the proceedings. He also fought the dismissal of one juror, a person who said prosecutors said made comments about President Trump, and who believed felons should have their voting rights restored.
Yes.
I mean, I personally am on board with that.
I think that's a very sensible take about democracy, but yes.
What Ruth, I think, liked the most was they indicated on the jury questionnaire they get their news from television or my sugar mama. Ruth said, I'd obviously like to keep this juror.
Yes, this juror sounds like a great time.
Ruth also asked to call Trump as a witness, describing the president in court as an insecure ego idiot and a mad fool.
I mean, again, he's onto something.
Yeah, he's slagging him off in the documents there. Finally, Ruth suggested sorting the case by challenging Trump to a beatdown session, that's a quote, or a round of golf. God, that's it might still sting the president, Ryan. Why challenging him to a round of golf?
Trial by combat or a round of golf.
Trial by golf. I'd take my own life sooner than golf.
But this is the thing. Is like, would Trump then be allowed to have his friend who goes along and puts the ball in a more advantageous position for him?
That's true.
The Goldfinger technique.
Maybe he'd be dismissed by Ruth. Maybe he wouldn't move the turtle out of the road. But the trial continues, and so does the great American experiment.
Oh dear. Unfortunately so.
Matty, segue, please.
Oh, segue. Yes, of course. Now, speaking of people who lie, cheat, and steal, some people really take it that extra mile. They might give up an arm or maybe a leg for it.
I feel like my segue brain is receding because I'm relying on my AI tool over here.
Yeah, you call me a tool?
Yeah, AI is more offensive, I think.
Actually, I agree.
A clanker. Yes, that's right. An NHS surgeon has been jailed for 2 years for insurance fraud after lying about having sepsis so he could have his legs amputated.
I mean, it's bold.
Now, this is one of the most shocking stories I've seen in a world of shocking stories. Mm-hmm. I had my qualms about doing this story, but when one of my best mates from uni and even my mum sent me this and said, you have to cover this, I thought, the fans want it. Mm-hmm. So, viewer discretion is advised. Maybe don't let your kids listen to this one. Why are they listening to this pod in the first place? Education. Start them young.
Education.
But NHS surgeon Neil Hopper, yes, I do recognise the irony of that name, from Truro in Cornwall.
Oh, that's awful.
Has carried out hundreds of amputation operations in his career. But in May 2019, Hopper had below-the-knee amputations himself after a mysterious illness. But in fact, he used dry ice to try to freeze his own legs off. Why? Well, it's basically a fetish. Along with the 2 counts of fraud, Hopper admitted to 3 counts of possessing extreme pornography to do with amputation.
Gosh.
And I don't know how a person can sexually be into amputations.
No.
Different strokes, but how do you even get there? No. I mean, this guy has a family. Outwardly, it looks like a normal life that he lives. But after freezing his legs...
First step 1.
Yeah. Step 1, freeze the legs. Hopper was treated for suspected sepsis before he was told by surgeons that he should have his legs amputated, and they operated on him. When he heard that, he must have been like, I used to pray for times like this. Like, what, you think you need to operate? Yeah!
On the table. Oh, yeah!
Oh, it really hurts. Maybe go above the knee.
A little bit higher, baby.
This is so dark.
It's twisted.
Hopper got nearly 500 grand from his insurance. And the court heard he messaged a friend about the claims, saying that he should, I quote, milk it.
Oh,
I think so. The prosecutor said he enjoyed the media interest. You're welcome, Neil.
Yeah.
And he's getting off to this right now.
Oh, yeah.
And that having his legs cut off seems to be a long-standing ambition of his. Well, if you want to make your parents proud, don't cut your legs off.
Don't cut your legs off. Don't do it.
He goes by Bionic Surgeon on Instagram. I feel like he's rubbing people's faces in it right now.
I thought I was going to say rub salt in the wound, but I think you'd enjoy that.
His bio is 12% robotic, 100% idiot. Which, yes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, accurate. Mr. Langdon, Casey, in mitigation, said that Hopper had body dysphoria since he was a child, and that his feet were an unwelcome extra.
Okay.
So there's a real spectrum. It goes from Neil Hopper to Quentin Tarantino. Feet are very divisive, aren't they? So much so that he wanted them entirely removed from his body.
Oh.
I can't make sense of this. Neil was back in work as a surgeon less than 6 months after the procedure with a brand new set of prosthetic legs.
Fair enough.
Some of Neil's former patients, upon whom he carried out life-changing surgery, now understandably panicked. They're thinking, what if I didn't really actually need the surgery? Yeah,
and I mean, beyond just that as well, it's like, was he getting off to cutting off a limb?
His own.
But is it only that, like, he wants his own stuff cut off? Or does he, like, doing...
Imagine he's done, like, a heart bypass. He's like, do it again. Do it again. I know there's a low chance of success, but I just love it so much.
Just one more.
For the love of the game, Matty. I should say there's no actual evidence that he did unnecessary procedures on other people.
Yes, this should be noted.
But you would be worried, wouldn't you?
You would be. You'd be starting to sweat a little bit.
Oh, dear.
And speaking of building up a sweat, we have managed to miss this from our entire script. Yeah.
Wait, what did we miss?
There is another sports star who's making headlines.
Where is it?
He's not in there.
Oh, no.
That I think is worth discussing. But fortunately, I've done my research. So if you're a big fan of sort of like keeping up with what goes on all around the world, like we are, you might have seen some pretty distressing scenes from Australia recently. The so-called March for Australia, going through the streets of Melbourne with a big sign saying "Stop Immigration" and all these different things. But what would happen if the son of immigrants, the Queensland native, and a proud Australian who was smashing Aussie records, was about to put Australian athletics back on the map?
Well, Matty, I've never heard of him because he wasn't in the script.
It wasn't in the script. Well, who we're talking about is, of course, the new Gout Gout,
Yes.
Our absolute champion, 17 years old. Already possessing a number of under-16s records. He was running like just over 10-second 100 meters at the age of 14. Insane.
That is crazy.
That is crazy. He's still a year 12 student at like a grammar school.
He's got a like Neil Hopper-esque funny name to do with legs. If you don't know, it's spelled Gout Gout.
It is.
And extremely funny for a runner.
Apparently, actually, that was based on, because his dad was talking about this, it was based on someone misspelling the Arabic spelling a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like a clerical error, wasn't it?
It was a clerical error. But yeah, Gout is an unbelievable athlete. And the reason we're talking about him is because the World Championships start this weekend in Tokyo. And we've talked about athletics on this show before. We've discussed, I'm not the biggest athletics fan. I'm not like sold.
I think you were too reactionary the other day.
I was too reactionary the other day. I oversold it because I was looking up this story and I was just like so hooked. I'm so excited. Because again, while you have, it should be noted, New Zealanders going over to Australia and trying to stir up racial tensions, you have what is actually a diverse Australian side about to take on the World Championships, and it's getting unprecedented attention. And that's because they've got a bunch of record breakers and contenders on this squad, and particularly it is the senior national team debut of the 17-year-old sensation. He broke last year a 56-year record held originally, I believe, by Peter Norman for the Australian record for 200 metres, and then he beat his own record just this summer. He's super, super exciting, and this will be the first time that the world stage really gets a proper look at him representing Team Australia. He was at the Under-20 World Championships, I think he got a silver medal there, but this Tokyo Games has really caught the eye. It's being shown in a sort of unprecedented and sort of like very rare deal across SBS and Channel 9 in Australia, so it's going to be free to view. They're sending 14, I believe, journalists to Japan to cover this, which is more than double what they sent to Hungary 2 years ago. It's becoming a media circus, and all of this is for an athlete who, it should be noted that if he even makes it to the 200 meters final at the World Championships, it would be massive, which is something that Usain Bolt didn't even accomplish at this age.
I mean, yeah, not even an adult. Just to reiterate, 17 years old.
17 years old. He's in grammar school.
It's been a good kind of year for Oceania and young runners. I mean, we had Sam Ruth earlier in the year run the youngest ever 4-minute mile, 15 years old.
That's unbelievable.
That's
unbelievable.
Yeah, I would get not within a shade of 4-minute mile now. So
no, and especially me at 14. You can remember.
Well, Matty had his running phase. We've got a medal here from when he did the Manchester half.
The Manchester half, yeah. I mean, my running phase is firmly behind me after I realised my knees were already battered enough.
Yeah, he had a bad case of the runs, but it's all over now.
That's very true. I think, but the thing is, I think. It should be noted that I was getting into my running phase while I was still growing, and man, that I put up with some pains for it. Gout Gout's the same way. His coach is still observing the fact that he's still turning up to training sometimes, and she's going, "You've grown." Like, he's still getting bigger and bigger. So we're not seeing yet the athletic peak of Gout Gout. But that hadn't stopped Usain Bolt sending out a DM saying that in response to a video of him running, he looks like a young me. And it's like when the family of Peter Norman, whose record he smashed, was saying, "Oh, this guy's a star." He would have, like Norman, who's passed, would have loved to have seen him smash the record. There's such a big feel of excitement about this lad, and he's going into a side that they had their greatest medals total in athletics since 1956, which was when the games were in Melbourne, and they looked far different than they did today.
That's massive, because you see the Aussies a lot in swimming, very prominent.
Yes,
but rarely in athletics. It must be said.
Athletics, yeah, and you've got like great one of the big stars going to this tournament. They've got a lot who are out with injury. One of the big ones is Jessica Hull. Who is she's broke the Australian mile record earlier this summer. She's going in. She's got one of their great middle distance runners. She won silver at Paris. So they've got all these really great athletes, and that blend of present and future is really exciting because I mean, Gout Gout's going to be like 20 at LA.
Yeah.
Which means he's going to be 24 when the games come to Brisbane in 2032.
Oh,
you're looking at potential peak home advantage, and what you're seeing is a building and building and building of excitement. Here's the thing: Gout Gout is already the best 200-meter runner in the history of Australia. He's got nothing to prove to any of these people. Anything he has to prove is to himself. And as much as I've ragged on athletics, I'm very excited to see where he goes next. And I think it's really a feel-good story at a time where, a bit like in the politics in this country, in America, and all over the world, but especially over in Australia right now, it's great to remember that actually, fuck all this nonsense. Let's just watch a kid absolutely crush it and do it for his country that he's proud to be a part of, while also being proud of his heritage from around the world.
And if you're excited to see where we go next, then
so
please where Matty goes next. He's been all over the globe.
So true. All over all over.
All over Europe, the Reform UK nightmare holiday. Then please do hit subscribe.
Please do, or follow us on Spotify as well if you're listening on Spotify.
Yeah, we really appreciate it if you've listened this far, and I think that's all from me.
And that's all from me as well. He's been Chris Patel.
He's been Matty Curry.
Thank you for tuning in.